Nope. Right now, yep, we are.
Thank you, Lee. So I'll also ask Sudhanshu if you can remind other folks too about the meeting, so that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sudhanshu. So once again, for those who just joined the call, this is weekly development call that happens every Wednesday. And so we talk about all the work that you are doing in Meshery repository and what's the project's future roadmap. So we will be tracking them, all the items in this meeting minutes that you all can see on our screen. And so I'll be once again putting it in chat. And we will start by taking introductions of those who are joining us for the very first time. So I'll be taking a look at the participants list in Zoom, and we'll see. Looks like Pratik is joining us for the very first time, but I don't think he's connected to the audio yet. Apart from Pratik, I think all are old timers. So. Olang, is it the first time that you're joining Dev call? If yes, do you mind giving your intro?
No, it's not the first time, but this is the first time during this Meshery development meeting.
Yeah, please go ahead. So if this is the first time joining this specific call, you can go ahead and talk about your areas of interest and whatever you want to share with the community.
I've been on other calls last week, or yeah.
All right. So hopefully we'll get you some items to, that you can get idea if you can work on them or not. So I'll just once again ask Pratik, if you want to go ahead and give your intro. And no, if you have any audio issues, you always can introduce in the chat too. So we'll wait for 10 seconds for Pratik. All right, then. So let me once again mention that you all can mark your intents and also can mention your items that you want to talk about. So I'm sure you will find the link in chat. And with that, let's get rolling. And first item is on Canvas snapshot plugins. So Lee, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, very good. Oh yeah. Hey guys. Hey, it's Wednesday again, so we're having our development meeting. So this is pleasant. We get to talk about something that Olang was here for last Saturday, was it? Did we meet on Saturday? Talk about
yeah, it was on Saturday.
Okay. Yeah. So we talked about so we had a one-off meeting on Saturday to talk about a couple of plugins, a couple of new extensions for Meshery. So Meshery is an extensible platform. And those two plugins are one for Helm CLI. There's a Helm CLI plugins, and there are kubectl plugins. Both of these plugins would perform similar functions. They would both take a snapshot or invoke the snapshot functionality of Meshery. Coming out of that meeting, there's a live meeting. There's a meeting recording, which one of you might be able to grab from Slack and maybe place in here just for posterity. There's a design spec that Vivek is sharing right now. And there's a couple of action items coming out of that meeting. It was just, there were about 5 or 6 folks on the call, and gosh, I'm not sure that there's much to say about the initiative other than just, hey, there's 2 new extensions that are getting started. One of them is underway currently, Ijoma. She's not able to join us today, but she's leading the effort or helping organize it and helping implement these 2 plugins. So if this is an area of interest for you, please go talk to Ijoma. Also, if this is an area of interest for you, or you have comments or questions about Meshery extensions, which is what these two plugins are to be, Meshery extensions, now is a great time to inquire.
Thank you, Lee. So for those interested, I have put the design aspects link in chat and also this pull request. And yeah, we'll wait for 5 to 10 seconds if anyone has any question. If not, then.
So interrupt me if you do. I'll just say a couple of other things. That one of the action items is for me to go create 2 new repositories. One to house the Helm plugin for taking snapshots, the other one to house the kubectl plugin for taking snapshots. In kubectl, I think the official kubectl package manager for plugins is called Crew with a K. So we'll follow their, or we'll create through the Crew package plugin manager, we will create a kubectl plugin. The topic here, just in case this particular topic isn't quite familiar to you, if any of you were to visit a Meshery pull request, which maybe I'll do just momentarily. By the way, we just sent out a tweet about the dev meeting that's here. We're gonna like it ourselves. I know that's like, why would you do that? What? I don't get it. Just in case you want to look in the mirror, here you are. This is where we are. If you have questions, you can ask out here. Okay. Anyway, if you were to visit any of the Meshery pull requests, you would see this snapshot capability in action, hopefully. So one was opened up by Ankita 30 minutes ago, and maybe it has a dark mode snapshot right here. So there's a GitHub action out there that is a Meshery extension and opens up the design of your choice. In this case, this is just, well, Uzair actually, there was a contributor here and an intern, Dayung, who was working to help ensure that we don't call these auto-generated.
Yeah, I think I will fix that if it is, if like PR is open or the issue still persists. I will fix that.
Okay, we'll take a note. Yeah, good. Anyway, here's the snapshot. So for Awani, who I think, Awani, are you looking to participate in this extension creation effort?
Yes, man.
Okay, nice. Hey, something that we might want to take a note, and Matthew might be looking to as well, or other folks, like there's any number of things to do. Like one of the things to do is to update this link to point to a document on how to interpret Meshery designs. Do we have a document like that, Awani?
Yeah, we do.
Nice, okay. So in order to update this the behavior of this comment, this snapshot, it's called a canvas snapshot. And I'll drop a link to where it is, but it would be fairly simple to update what goes inside of here. So helping people understand what the heck these little blobs mean is going to be good. Also, it's maybe an open question for everyone here. Last time we looked at this, Matthew had made a comment saying, hey, wouldn't it be nice in context of a GitHub pull request that there would be a diff between, you know, the different versions of a design? That's a great point of feedback and something that has been discussed a few different times and something that would be great if we were to deliver. I don't know that there's an open issue on that, though. That might be good to, I don't remember. Anyway, all I was going to say to wrap this up was just, if you're here as a user and if you have a very complex design, it might be fairly small. So you might expect to be able to click it to open it up into a larger image to look at. Right now, the behavior is that if you click it, you're taken to the design itself. And so, which can be nice. It's a little bit weird that there's a snapshot taken for this design, but Yash or Uzair or others, there's no snapshot shown here. So that's kind of weird. If someone wants to open it and edit the design, they can in the playground or download it and open it themselves. And my point largely, there's a couple of bugs that I think that we're finding, or a couple of like suggested enhancements just now that we've found. One of those suggested enhancements is potentially two different links, one link to open it, or rather one link to go to visit the design inside of a Meshery catalog. The other link to maybe just see the full size of the image. So, Awani, do you mind just in context of updating this link, maybe you would open an issue to capture those other two suggestions to separate out the two hyperlinks, one to open the image, one to visit the design?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, great. And then for others that are on the call, like Olang or Matthew or others that are looking to participate in that particular issue or initiative, those two issues are a great way to jump in. Any questions, comments on the topic? Anybody? Vivek, I can share the meeting minutes. Okay, you got it.
So thank you, Lee. So next up, we have this topic about Hacktoberfest event. So I'll quickly introduce and then talk about it. So in past and we have been participating in Hacktoberfest for 3 to 4 years now. And when the month of October comes closer, we kind of introduce folks how they can get into the projects and contribute. So last year too, we held a similar session, and this year too, we are preparing for the event. I'll be dropping these links if you are interested to take a look at the event that we had last year. So we also handed out some exclusive Hacktoberfest badges to those who were actively participating in the community and projects in the month of October 2023. So preparation is going on for this year's version. And if anyone would like to add anything to it, Sudhanshu, do you mind talking about this?
Yeah, so currently, very soon we'll have those issues with Hacktoberfest label. It could be from different areas like Layer 5 and Meshery and Meshery.io to our different website related projects. So yeah, all the new contributors who are eager to participate in Hacktoberfest will have those Hacktoberfest label issues. And we'll also have a meet organized with that, which will help new folks to how they can start contribution in the month of October. And also this would be the start, but always there is a open resources will be available to see how you can start. So yeah.
Thank you for that, Sudhanshu. So there will also be some talks from maintainers and other contributors who would be walking you through in their areas of expertise, so you can also get guidance from them. So anyone else wants to add anything on this?
I've got a question for you in Slack, the chat. I think Yash has the same question I had.
Yeah, so I think your question, yes, is about if someone from the community has been participating and contributing, whether or not they can present on the session that we will be having. Is that so?
There is many places in Hacktoberfest they can participate. Maybe there are some other folks that are looking to lead some off areas and looking to help others to jump in. So how they can if they are contributing for around 2 months and they think this particular area they have worked for 2 months and they can help others, how they can if there is a process, is there any place that they can put their name that they want to volunteer to help others that's
Yeah, so that's fantastic. So today we'll be opening a discuss forum thread just like this, and anyone who wants to volunteer, or if simply you want to, have updates on this year's event, we can sound off there. So after the call, I'll be opening a thread right here on discussion forum. I'll be sharing this link. Yeah, anyone who is interested can, sound.
Nice. All right. Hey, just to be clear, so this community in Meshery will be participating in Hacktoberfest. Great. That means that we would in advance prepare some open issues that are, fairly like well suited or qualified for someone to come by and relatively easily engage. So those might be issues that would take a month, issues that would take a week, issues that would take 30 minutes. But irrespective of what size the issue is, they would be well described so that people could be successful digesting it and implementing. So in the past, we've gotten together lists of issues, like different areas, and a list of issues that to be opened up and like supported as people come by. So it sounds like that's what we're going to do again this year. We're going to help Vivek is going to help organize the community by opening up a discussion forum post, and people, all of us, go over to that post and either inquire about, maybe you can suggest areas that you think would work out well for people to come in and hack on. Maybe you have an idea that you want to hack on a bit. Or it sounds like there's going to be last year and the year before and the year before, we had a small community event, kind of like this meeting, in which, I don't know, I think last year there were about 10 or so of all of you that gave like a 5 or 10-minute presentation, just introducing people to the how to get going, how to be successful in the community or on the Meshery project in context of Hacktoberfest. I think there was a small presentation on like Meshery CTL and how to build that, to get going there. Presentations on like common pitfalls that people run into, like signing off on your commit, or the difference between cloning and forking, or some of these things. So yeah, so hey, it's a great way to get your GitHub profile busy, I suppose, by participating in this, either by whether you're on the participatory end contributing things, or you're on the organizer side, or you're straddling both. Either way. And so, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, let's do it. Vivek, you said there's something of us. There is a community event being organized that we would have in the next week or two, and we'll do that same Hacktoberfest event. Okay, like last year. Okay, great. So you're just saying, hey, if this strikes an interest with anyone, hold your horses for the next 30 minutes. Pretty soon there'll be a discussion forum post to go and.
Yeah, correct. So we can have discussions there. So it will be a place for all to come and take a look, like how we are preparing for the event. Thank you, Lee, Yash, and so on. So we'll be moving on to the next item, and that is from Ganesh. So I'll take a look if we have. Yep, looks like we don't. So I'll just simply request Hargun if you can remind Ganesh. So if he joins, then we'll be taking his item.
Yes, sure.
Next up, this item is from Matthew. So do we have? Yep, we do. So Matthew, would you like to cover this item? We cannot hear you in case you are speaking, Matthew. We still cannot, so I think some audio issues from your side. All right, so I think Matthew will figure this out, and we'll come back here. So next item is from Vaibhav, and I'll quickly take a look if we have Vaibhav on call. Looks like we're missing Vaibhav too. So Arjun, if you do the same for Vaibhav too, that would be super helpful. And next, this is an item from me, so I'll be opening it. And this is basically about whatever collection catalog we have in Meshery/Meshery.io to copy that to our docs that is in Meshery/Meshery. So I I ran this workflow in my fork of the repository, and it successfully copied all the files. So I'll just quickly simply take you there. So this workflow ran, and it was triggered by my version of the this action that I have modified, and it wrote to my fork. So if you want to take a look at what all this, so if you're interested in taking a look at the modifications, I'll be sharing this link in chat. And I'll also wait for 5 to 10 seconds if anyone has any comments. All right, so looks like we have Matthew back with us. Is that the case, Matthew? If yes, you can go next.
If Matthew not, I can
Can you
speak
hear
on
me
that.
now?
Yeah, we can, Matthew.
Okay. So yes, for this one, it was an issue that was reported Monday, I think, about the word YAML issue. So let me show my screen. Okay, so basically what I have done is just check the error in the pipeline, and I just see that there were indentation issue here. I just add the indentation property, and from here it just fix the issue. If I remember, it was
So just for the
this
context, so
one.
this was
Yeah, so Matthew, actually the thing is like you updated the auto-generated file, and on next publish that file will get overwrite, and
Okay,
we
yes,
will log the
it's
changes that you made. And I
okay.
already gave that
It's
feedback in the Slack.
okay. It's something that I asked in the Slack.
Yeah.
Here I just replace here, but I think it was not the root cause. We need to figure out
Yeah.
why. Okay.
So
I
root cause
will,
was like to fix that root code. I already raised the PR. We just hold on to decide whether we have to put the RJSF schemas to and should we make that effort, because it will require to update the Meshery UI and the Cloud UI also. So after we make that decision today, we can merge that PR and fix that issue from the
okay.
root.
so there's a comment in chat, Josh. All right, so then we will have Prateek. So I'll take a look if we have
Yeah, hey,
Prateek.
wait, yeah, hey guys, hey, hold up a second. Hey, let's make sure that we're empowering Matthew in the right way, that we're explaining what's happening. I think there's an architecture slide that shows how it is that content is overwritten on some certain frequency. It's an event-driven thing. Matthew, are you familiar with that already? How it is that content is overwritten?
Not really, but I go to to the repository, and I think that I understand that there's a schedule somewhere that fetch data, I'm not sure where, and from that generate the markdown files. It was what I was trying to figure out here.
Yeah. Yep. Good. So Yash is going to take a moment to explain it, because it's not that I'm sure that you will figure it out, but it's worth us to collectively be all on the same page and get some questions answered just in case you have any. And then to follow up with, I thought he was gonna share. I'll share. Then to follow up with the thing that Yash was sweeping under the rug, which is the fact that he has a real struggle getting this, like, the catalog, like it's making sure that the catalog doesn't break. And so he's trying to tie that off by being schema driven in terms of the content that gets put into the catalog. The content that gets put into that catalog is, well, it's this nasty user generated content. I say nasty just to be playful, meaning like when someone creates a design and they want to publish it, they might have written in here a bunch of weird characters or 10 gigabytes of a movie that they pirated, or and so we need to be on guard about that. They might just accidentally, in the very innocent way, put in like some backticks to show this as like code or like an HTML tag. And does that break the system? And historically it has, and the system has gotten a little more resilient, but even then, we still struggle a little bit to make sure that it handles itself. Like, here's a great example of some silliness that any one of you might be able to take on, like right now, which is, just as a random example, we landed on the page. I went down to the very first one. It has a snapshot. Hey, we were just talking about snapshots and extending those into other CLIs. Great. So this particular snapshot looks like this, really simple, straightforward. Great. We click it to go understand a little bit more. We get this convenient modal. It's browsing a catalog, like you'd go shopping for, apples at the store, or shopping for AWS CloudFront, apparently. If we're intrigued and we want to know more, maybe we would click here or here. Let's see what happens. We just open up that into a full page. So now we've opened up the catalog item. We're looking at it. What does it do? We get to know even more. Interestingly, we were just looking at a snapshot of it a second ago in two places, but here we're not. And I know we've talked about this on this call, well, more times than I can recall, actually. We've talked about it a few times. So we've got a bug here. It'd be great if anybody that knows Markdown could work on that, fix it. It's about all that you need to know. There is a little bit of Jekyll included. So just Markdown with a couple of macros. Okay, that's an item. Going back then to this catalog and how is information refreshed. Josh is going to take us through it. Oh,
so sorry, actually. I was having issue with my machine, so it would be nice if you can share. I can talk on that.
Oh, sounds good. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought my machine just had a weird issue. It started to go full screen, and I actually thought that was you taking over, sharing your screen. So yeah, let me find the slide, and then you can. So part of the fact that this is user-driven content, it's like, someone could go put in some swear words and go publish it onto the Meshery's website. Wait a second, we should probably have a point of review. It's not that people generally put in swear words and try to, that they harbor ill will towards the project. They don't. What actually does happen relatively frequently is someone's just familiarizing with Meshery, and as they're using it, they click the button publish to catalog. And it turns out the design that they were working on was just, it was like my first design. Literally, that's what it's titled. And the catalog is ideally to be a, I'm not sure, my machine just killed the window. This is weird. This is a terrible presentation. I was saying, as soon as Chrome comes back up, I was saying,
I think I can share the screen now.
oh yeah, please. I was just saying, people accidentally go to publish stuff that they didn't really mean to share, and the catalog is supposed to be curated with some nice content that is helpful to a large number of people. And so there's a review process, and this is it.
Yeah, so as Lee said, like I will add few things like the process is in the Meshery.io. It's also a place for a catalog place where users can search and find the catalog design items. So when you publish a design from Meshery server, it makes a request to the cloud. And if you are in the team, if you have a curator role, you have a permission to approve and review the process. If you have any kind of review, you can give a review to the author, and after approving that, if it looks good, everything, you can approve that request and it will publish that design. And after publishing the design, GitHub workflow gets triggered, which updates the Meshery.io to have those updated designs, which is auto-generated. So this is kind of quite a process. If you have any question, I would have to answer.
So to fix the issue we had, I think that the best place is here in the
So the
process.
issue that so the issue that we were facing is coming because when we generate a YAML file that we get the data from the API in the workflow, and when we generate the YAML file from the Golang script that we have, it has issues that sometimes it makes YAML file malformed because of special characters have in the description, in the curator description. So because of that, it malformed the YAML. So to fix that, we decided that description, when you publish a design, that design description get converted to the URL encoded data. So when it gets published, we directly put that data in the YAML file. So it is a single line, so it will not malform the YAML. And Jekyll in the Meshery.io can read that URL encoded data and decode that to show that on the website. But recently we migrated from using Schema, RJSF Schema, which is a framework that we use to generate forms that you see in the Meshery UI anywhere. So it is a schema, and you can like generate form from that. So it ensures that we decode, encode the data. So we recently migrated from Meshery to Schema, and it has a bug in that schema. Because of that, it was not encoding the data. And after publishing, we are just adding data directly in the YAML file with a special character which was causing malform. So to fix that, we need to make sure that schema gets fixed. So yeah, that's the root cause.
Okay.
It's a lengthy process. I can understand it's a bit hard to digest, but if you need more help to digest that, ping me on the Slack. I would love to explain.
Okay, perfect.
Great. Yash, you can go through the second half of the issue. Schema.
Yeah. Okay, no, next item was not me, but I can quickly go over them. So and we can decide. Okay. So I hold myself not to migrate schema from System to schema record, just to make sure that we decide properly where we need to go, because previously we went from Meshery to System, and where Meshery to schema repo, then schema repo to System, and now again from System to schema repo. So it's a quite of bit of work that we will need to do when we do a migration. So I was just looking for approval from you guys to I think it's a good idea to have now. It's a good idea to have those RJSF schemas in the schemas repo because we are also generating UI interface in the schemas repo. So if everyone agrees, we can do a migration and make sure that it stays in the schemas repo and we are not doing double work again and again and do the migration. So currently it's in Meshery and currently it's in Sept. So we will have it in a single place, which is Meshery schema. If everyone agrees, we can do that migration.
I think it should go into schemas because, like, for system we should only have things specific to UI, and for in Meshery we should directly have the functionality. But all of the schema should be here, and because we can then reuse the parts of the schema for, say, like the publish, publish schema or the input schema. Like all of those can be derived from the already existing constructs. Like for the catalog, we already have a catalog schema, or for design and import we already have a design schema, so we should be able to use them. And also, like, the thing is, like, sometimes why do we need to redefine the schema, because we already define it inside the open API input for the, like, the request, like for the publish endpoint we already have the input schema defined there, like what that API accepts as an input. So why do we need to redefine that?
We can enhance that. Currently, we didn't thought and improve that logic, but I do agree with you. Like this will also help us to make sure that if we will enhance and making sure that UI schema defines how UI will look, and the main schema defines how the structure will look or what API expects. Then it makes sense that the schema that we already have in the open API can help us to generate RJSF schema also, to make sure that we are also schema driven when we update the schemas. So we will need to enhance our RJSF to behave like that, and then we can take the use of open API schema that we already have. If this makes
So, like,
sense.
RJSF already expects to, like, the first is the JSON schema for the actual data structure, and then the UI schema for actual, like, if you want to change the widgets or stuff like that. I think sometimes we merge them together, and that causes the problem, because then we don't know, like, where to put which, because we merge the actual data structure and the UI schema. So if we keep them separate, because most of times the JSON schema we already have it, we don't need to define it for anything, because most of the resources are already schema driven, so we already have the schema for it. Maybe sometimes it's in open API or sometimes it's in JSON 3, but they are interconvertible, and we are already thinking to just go with one. But thing is, like, most of the times that's already defined. So at best sometimes we, like, for models and like forms, we only need to define the UI part, and the actual schema of the data structure is already defined, and that's already in the schemas repo. So I think we should keep having other schemas there.
Yeah, I do agree. I think RJSF makes that a little bit confusing because they support updating UI from both the schemas. So we just need to make ourselves a standard that we update from UI schema itself, not from the main schema, because they support from both sides. And when we design a schema and we update from both sides, it makes confusing. So we can have a standard and we can leverage that. I totally agree with you.
And the structure will be of same, right? The JSON schema and its UI schema, like, or the UI schemas will be a separate folder.
No, the structure will be same. So I think from everyone's agreement is to make sure that we are moving those schemas to schemas repo. It makes sense, and we will bundle those schemas with the existing npm package that we have in the schemas repo. If there is any question, feedback, anyone want to get, we can move forward with that approach.
Yeah, I think that would be right, to bundle it with the existing TS package.
Yep. Just say it again, to put the schema where?
In the Meshery schemas repo.
Okay. So the project is attempting to be schema driven or do schema driven development. We are being kind to ourselves when we say most of it's schema driven, because it's just really not. We're probably being kind with some of these, maybe some of these greens, maybe. where does what you guys are discussing, where is that listed in here?
The handwritten JSON, but it is not quite this. The discussion that we were having requires updating this sheet, but yeah.
Who's there?
Go to next slide. The fourth point captures that like the RGSF schema and packaging the RGSF schema with the TypeScript package.
Great. Yeah, and that's good. I'm actually asking for you to comment on the whole discussion. Like,
Makes sense. Like to have to, so basically in order to use those RGSF forms, we need like two things. Like the one is the actual JSON schema, and another one is like the US schema to like pretty like. Yeah, so the other one is like RGSF US schema to like better present the UI to make it nice and all. So I think the RGSF US schema can be like directly packaged with the TypeScript schema package that we have inside schemas repo that gets released every time we make a release of schemas repository. But for the JSON schemas, like those JSON schemas, I think it would be better if those schemas are like served, because those schemas are also will be used by server to validate requests and responses and like other resources. So I think UI can like server can serve those schemas at like initially, and then because we already use RTK query, so those schemas will be like automatically cached. So there will be like no or like there will be no delay in like the schema is the server is like taking much time to extract the schema and then responding it. So like because of that RTK cache, it will be like pretty easy. So yeah, I don't think I agree with the approach.
do you have an example? Do you have a working example of that approach?
Not a working
Currently,
example, but
we had from Meshery we were like serving the schema. Like the schemas were defined in Meshery and server was serving those schemas. But I think again we moved to system, so that approach is not used, but we were using it.
Great. I can't really hear you.
So you mean,
How are you guys
like you
here?
mean like with,
Has anyone prototyped or ensured that RJSF can and will consume schema not of its own description? Is that what you guys were saying before?
no, I can give a small example. If we go to the Meshery's schemas repo,
Okay.
yeah, it will be quick. If we go to the Meshery's schema repo. And inside is schemas and construct, we have a schema for catalog. So part of our suggestion was that we should leverage existing schema, and I think inside V1, V1, I guess. Oh, okay, for catalog. So part of our suggestion was to not to define a new schema for RGSF, which will contain similar information, but instead use this existing schema, which we have for the RGSF, and not define any UI thing in this schema. Instead, whatever we want to present and how we want to present should we have in the UI schema, and it should not be defined inside this schema. So we can leverage this existing schema instead of defining double schemas. So this is the discussion we were having.
Yeah. So where's the UI schema going to go?
Yeah, for that I'm not sure, but yeah, we
That's
will
the whole
need to
point
have
of
a
this discussion, right, guys? That's the entire point of this discussion is where's the UI schema going to live?
Yes, inside the schemas repository itself, but not inside this construct folder. But I think there is another models or another directory which has the TS types. So basically, like we can place the RGSF schemas in that particular folder, but the repository will be this schemas repository.
I was thinking like the UI schema that can still live in system because it's just the UI and we don't need to put that here.
I wonder if that will
And
make
how
a
is-
little bit complex. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Because in system would either we need to like define the import models and the catalog publish model, like those are all reusable and we can already define them in system. So otherwise, if you want to define them in system, then you have to again pull the schemas package in system also. So and it's just the UI and it won't be used in like other places. If it's a form, it will be used in only as a form but the schema is reusable. Like we use it for models, we can use it forms, we can use it for validation. So it's better to have the actual schema of the construct in schemas, but the UI schema in assistant. Because it doesn't define the actual construct. It's just how we present it.
So this means that there will be no change, because I think already some of the UI schemas are present inside system.
I think the only change that's needed would be like reusing the existing schema from the schemas, because we are redefining them when we're defining those UI schemas. Like we were redefining the existing schemas and duplicating them for all of those input models and everything. We're again defining our construct there.
That is also the thing. Because there will be one less dependency inside system package.
Yeah. I think regarding your like suggestion of serving the actual schema, then I think insistent would need to like create a reusable package of like RJSF wrapper kind of that can easily use JSON schema server like from an API endpoint, because otherwise we have to, when we were defining the models previously, we had to do it ourselves and it was painful that way. But if we have a reusable component for that, then it would be easy.
I think we already use a kind of like RJSF some RJSF component that is like redefined inside Meshery or somewhere. So I think that component can take care of it to fetch the schema.
Yeah, if we already have, then we can just put it insistent, because the same approach would be used in, I think, cloud and other places. So that's fine.
Questions, clarifications?
Like I'm still in confusion. Like what should we go with that decision, because it will confuse in the UI, because in the UI you will need to import UI schema from system, but the main schema from the Meshery schemas repo.
The main schema, the logic to like fetch main schema will always be present inside like system. So when you will like import that component, or for example like the import model, so that import model will be wrapped in a way such that when you import that component, entire logic to fetch the UI schema as well as the actual schema is present inside system. So you just need to like use the component. Everything, the hard work could be inside system component itself. So
that makes sense.
You can start with like cleaning up the Meshery repository to delete the UI schema and the schemas that we have there. And similarly from Meshery, in Meshery UI there are many UI schemas or schemas present, I think, for connection definitions and all.
So then it doesn't require any changes right now, but I will have like, for how will we were discussing about how to reuse our existing schema, how that will work. Like in the Meshery schemas, we will package them and we will use them in the system. I think that's the only way then to reuse them, but otherwise we'll need to define them in the system and we will need to introduce RJSF in the system, because currently it
like
doesn't.
as Uzair mentioned, like the actual schemas would be served through an API, so we would only need a reusable component that can consume the schema for an API. So that will be the only reusable component that will be in system, and that will use the existing schema and then enhance it with a UI schema for each of the models or any type of input, because it differs between input, because the same input, if we want to show in different places, we would have to define different UI schema. So it's most because it's only for the UI schema. It won't be used anywhere else other than UI.
I just have one more question, like why API? Why we will need a API to fetch the schemas?
Otherwise, like again, it will be like double work of redefining the schema inside system. because system will only contain UI schema.
Because it will also increase the bundle size, because we have to again bundle it with our own app, all of the schemas, and we're already using them on backend and other places for validation.
Okay. And we can't like bundle it with the existing NPM package that we have in the Meshery schemas repo. Like we have
can, but-
the Meshery, yeah.
We can bundle it, but the point is that first thing is that the system package will get like overloaded, like the size will increase. So I think it might affect some, it might have some performance issues, and other reason could be like
And I think like the size shouldn't be a problem. Like if we put like the use schemas inside system also, because like it would get the package from the parent app would be used. Like if Mesh is already using schemas, then we don't need to like have it bundled again with system. It would just reuse it from the actual app. So I think that wouldn't be a problem like of the size. I think there Yash has a valid point. Like that won't be like a problem if we don't necessarily need an API for that purpose.
Okay, we've got 5 minutes
So-
left. Sounds like, yeah. Like, is there any guidance for Matthew at this point? Does any of this affect? what he-
Okay, sorry everyone to interject. Within the 5 minutes time, please, just want to know, how do I access, do we have something like a Jira ticket so that a task can be assigned to me?
Yeah, Raphael, to repeat that last part, you were just saying, hey, what's the process for ensuring that an issue is assigned to you? Is that what you were asking?
Okay, I'm great and hello everyone. I do want to know, do we have something like a Jira board so that a ticket can be assigned to me?
Yeah, there's other people, other maintainers here, other contributors here might have a different resource to point you to. The one that I would point you to in terms of like that Jira board, so to speak, would be when you visit github.com/Meshery, as you familiarize with the various components and the project, is to grab a hold of this particular
Appointed?
yeah. When we click this one, it's just a query for open issues that have the label help wanted, and it queries across a couple of different GitHub organizations that the community stewards. And so this is this is that board of like, hey, here's various activities that are happening, and whoever opened the issue has signaled that they're looking for collaborators. Usually then what happens is, as a potential collaborator, you visit one of these things and if it seems like you're interested and either no one is assigned, or maybe someone is assigned, but it's like, there hasn't been any activity for a day, for a week, for what. It never really hurts just to say, hey, whoever is currently assigned, hey, are you still working on this? Is there somewhere where I can help? Or do you have it, to ask them. But if you comment on the issue, that enables, from a GitHub perspective, it enables the maintainer or the community contributor to come by and pick your name from the list to assign. Is that what you're looking for?
Yes, that's what I'm looking for in terms of to contribute to the base code.
Nice. Yeah. Yep. If you already know that, like, there's specifically a particular repo or particular component that you'd like to dig into, then you don't necessarily have to use that help one, that big long query. But you can just kind of start to filter it just based on what thing you're interested in. Maybe it's DevOps in this project or whatever. Good. Raphael, there is a newcomers call tomorrow that covers this topic exactly. And like the goal of that meeting is to ensure that before you leave that meeting, you've got at least one issue assigned and that you're comfortable with it and can go forth. So that meeting starts at the same starting time as this one tomorrow.
Awesome, that's perfect for me.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's a great question because a lot of times when we go to wrap up this particular meeting right here, we end up mentioning the newcomers call tomorrow. So it's like, thanks for the segue. This particular link, there's a Meshery calendar out here that has details on the newcomers meeting, like where to join and how to dial in, stuff like that. So great. Hey, look, I'm sorry to have interrupted the discussion. It's one that needs to be concluded. A little bit of a challenge, or harder one, which is why it's dangled out there for a little while. Sounds like a couple of different potential approaches. Just like any decision, there's always a trade-off. And it's like, yeah. And anyway, if who of the folks that are into this discussion can write down the pros and cons and present a proposal or send a proposal to
Okay, I will help to make sure that we document that.
Okay, so Yash, you're gonna send out an email with a recap and a proposal to here?
Yeah.
Nice, all right, oh, thanks a lot. Any final comments on this item? Some of you on the call.
I think,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was just saying like there are, because like most of the like these work, but I think we need to think about it because like otherwise we might have to revert back on. So I think we need to conclude it. If Yash, if you are available after the call, we might talk a bit. Because I think like most of these work in the short run, but maybe we might find some issues that would lead again changing the approach, and so that's why.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking if this worth the effort, like because this will require a little bit more effort that it will not show on the UI, it will not enhance any performance, or it is just our standard that will improve. So I was little hesitate on if this all worth that effort, because if we have schemas in the system itself, we will not get any issues in future for now. But if we want to set a standard, we can do that, but it will require a little bit more work and can cause some few issues too. So it would be better to decide.
So hey, we're at the top of the hour. There's a KubeCon EU, the CFP is open. So if you want to talk about your favorite CNCF project, I recommend that you do. Let us know if anybody is submitting there and wants to talk about Meshery, all kinds of things to tell people. I'll certainly help if that's helpful. And so, great. Vivek, anything else that we need to discuss?
Yeah, so I'll quickly share that I have prepared this and also the link, so all can everyone to that can take a look and also can participate, suggest any thoughts that they have. And you all already mentioned about newcomers meeting, so it would be helpful for folks to join to get overview on the projects and the community.
Nice. The two things that you said are, if you'd like to participate in Hacktoberfest, either the organizing of how we're participating, we collectively, or if you want to be a participant contributing against issues, go here and this is your Hacktoberfest hub, where you'll be updating info, where you'll be soliciting input from people about issues. And okay, great. And the second thing was the newcomers meeting tomorrow. Okay. Does anybody have any final items? Are we all set for today? I'm out of jokes. Anybody got a joke to wrap us up? Take us home? I don't have good jokes anyway, so. So a nun, a prostitute, and no, I'm just kidding. They all walk into a bar, and I'm just kidding. Terrible. Terrible. Anyway, a lot of jokes start off like that. If you see that's how bad my jokes. When you have to explain the joke, like that's how bad the joke. Okay. Anyway, I'll be here all day. Next week. Come back, more laughs. We'll be here same time. Somebody bring a joke, please. Cool. Okay. Hey, nice to see everybody. Thank you for hosting, Vivek. See you guys.